The Learning Resource Library contains all the learning resources available in the system. This essentially includes any type of learning, from an e-learning course to a classroom-based training session, from an online web document that needs reading to a Google Classroom project against which homework files are uploaded. You name it, if it's learning, this system will track it. So let's see how the learning resources are added to the system, edited and then assigned to learners so they can start learning. Let's start by adding a new learning resource. We can do this by pressing on the Add Learning Resources button. Every learning resource should have the name. For this example, we will call it Introduction to Copyright Law. We can select a category. In this case, we will select Legal and Compliance. Once that is done, we can fill in some other fields such as keywords and description. We'll just put some text in there. And these are used to search for the learning resource using the Netflix style interface which the learner experiences. We can add competencies if we wish. This will add CPD points or similar against an array of predefined competencies for further reporting. A full discussion of this is available in the System Setup section of the program. Moving down, we can elect to make this learning resource available for self-enrollment, which means that this learning resource is not mandatory, but is discoverable by all learners by searching the system. The Require Management Approval checkbox means that the learner can't start to use this learning resource unless the coach or trainer has approved it first. This is often used if there is a cost element associated with the training, such as a booking with an external classroom-based training session, or there is a large time window associated with it, taking the employee away from the workplace. Company access allows you to restrict use of the course to a specific company. This is used when you are managing the training for a number of different companies and the learning resource is company specific. The days till the learning resource is due denotes the number of days after the course is assigned that it is flagged as overdue. Once a course is overdue, then it will be flagged to the coach or trainer as well as appearing in the learner's diary as an alert that needs to be dealt with. This figure is filled in automatically from the default figure found in the Defaults tab. The days till refresher training date due is used if we want this learning resource to be carried out at regular intervals. This is often the case with compliance training or linked to insurance requirements, where regular repetition of the training is required in order to demonstrate adherence to the regulations with a basic level of understanding. The thumbnail and promo images are used by the learning management system as a pictorial representation of the course. Don't worry though if you do not have suitable images for these or the certification logos below. Their places will be filled with suitable defaults for the type of learning resource selected. The fields in the Custom Certificate Resources section allow you to customize the certificate for the specific course. Don't worry, every course will contain your company branding and there are details of the selected course, but you may want to define some additional qualifications or images specific to this learning resource. For instance, some courses may carry CIPD accreditation and require the CIPD accreditation logo along with a message specific to that accreditation body. The learning resource type will bring up fields specific to that type of resource. For instance, if we select e-learning, it allows us to define the SCORM package and a pass mark, etc. that would define how that e-learning course would behave. In this case, we will select a classroom-based course. I won't define every type of training in this help session as it will take too long, but the principle is the same. In this case, we enter details about the location, the duration in hours, the class size, first the minimum number of the session to take place, and then the maximum number that the class will allow. We can then enter the date of the session and the time it starts, along with the name or any other trainer, teacher or invigilator. We can add a series of classroom sessions in this way, which the learner will then have the option of selecting one at a time which suits them. Below this we can state the language, cost, and select the learning provider from a predefined list of providers. These providers are entered in the System Setup section of the program under the Learning tab. Finally, we are able to add a list of learning resources which we can make mandatory before this learning resource is carried out. This means that any pre-qualifying training has to be done, noted as so by checking on the Make These Courses Mandatory here. We may want to select this option if, for instance, we have a classroom course, but there is some mandatory basic training through e-learning, for instance, which must be carried out before the learner can attend. So in this case, we can select some appropriate resources, opt to make them mandatory, so this learning cannot even be attempted before these resources are completed. So that's how to add a learning resource. Once we are done, we can press Add Learning Resource, and the resource is now added to the list. We will come back to this learning resource later when I show you how to assign this resource to a learner or set of learners. I'd like to quickly introduce you to the concept of a lesson. Lessons are essentially a collection of learning resources which can be collated together around a single topic. This is similar to Google Classroom. I'll just add some basic information here like so. Lessons have a similar description structure to a learning resource with names, descriptions, thumbnail and promo images and certificates, as you will expect when adding a learning resource. I can leave most of this information blank as it will simply load in the defaults. Where the definition of a lesson changes is where we add constituent learning resources. We can do this by selecting from the list all the learning resources and then pressing the Add Learning Resource button. Any number of learning resources can be selected from the list and added in this way. I'm just going to add a few random ones in like so. And you can see we can then make changes to the order in which they are presented within the lesson, and even make it mandatory that lessons are completed in this order that we have defined. So once that is done, we can press Add Lesson, and again, like the learning resources, it is added to the list. Another way to add learning content to the library is from the eLearning W&B library. The number of courses is currently 160 courses, growing at around 4 a month. And there is in addition much curated resources linked to freely available web content. Access to this library is available to organisations who have purchased membership, although it defaults to this library supplied by eLearning W&B, but other suppliers can be connected in this way, so importing of SCORM packages is automated in this way. To add learning resources from this library, we press the button. Here we can see a list of resources. If the learning resource is already installed, then you will see the status set to installed. Here we can see the resources are already on the system, ready to be assigned to learners. You may notice that we can update these courses with this latest course content. You can do this if there's been an update to the course and you want it refreshed with the latest content, or you've edited the course using Jackdaw and do not like the results and want to reset it with the latest default information. On the other hand, if we search for a new course such as Team Supervision, which is a new course that I know has not been installed on our system, I can press the Install button and hey presto, it has been added to our list of courses from eLearning W&B's central store. This functionality can also be customized to work with other content suppliers. Contact eLearning W&B for further details on how this can be done. Before I show you how to assign this learning to learners' accounts, I'd like to draw your attention to the Jackdaw link here. What this does is it opens any compatible e-learning course in the cloud-based Jackdaw editor. Now you need no third-party software to edit course content. Jackdaw can either be purchased or used free of charge for all clients of the membership service. Using Jackdaw you can edit appropriate courses and even create new courses from scratch. There is further information about this e-learning creation tool within the product itself. Right, the final function here is to assign any learning resources to the learner population. Here we're going to assign learning resources directly to the learners, but please note that learning resources can also be assigned indirectly by adding learning programs to learners as well. Okay, so we click on the Assign Learning button. Then we can select any learning resource we want to add by clicking on it, and can also add further by searching for the resource and selecting it. You will notice all course selections made are listed here at the bottom of the grid. You can edit the course selection by removing these from the selection by pressing the close button. You can now select any departments, groups or employees to add to these courses. Note selections which already match the criteria will already be selected for you. Hence you can use the same functionality to unassign learning from user accounts. Once you are happy with how courses have been assigned, you can close the window and the changes will automatically be saved. One final word about removing courses from this list. If a course is no longer needed, you can disable them by clicking on the Disable link for that course. You will see all disabled courses by clicking here, and if necessary bring them back to life by re-enabling them at any time. So that's how you add learning, edit and assign learning using the system. Should you need any further information, remember you can consult the manual by using the link at the top right hand corner of the screen.